Hello everyone and welcome to this section, and in this section we are basically going to be looking at Tor and some of its security features and just going over the interface. So you could have installed Tor on Windows, or you could be using it on Cubes, or you could be using it on Tails, or finally you could be using it on any Linux distro of your choice. I'm going to be using Ubuntu, and basically if you already extracted the package as we did in the previous section of this course, you should have already started Tor, and here we are. Tor is actually opened, and I know that it's connected to the Tor network. Now let's actually get started. So Tor browser has a lot of security features that probably a lot of people overlook, but let's actually get into them. So if you maximize the Tor browser, it's going to tell you that the Tor browser can allow websites to determine your monitor size, which can be used to track you. So we recommend that you leave your Tor browser windows in their original default size. Well, that's actually a precaution that actually makes sense, because obviously if you visit a website, it has to basically form the website to the device that you're using, the resolution of the device that you're using, which you see very commonly nowadays. If you visit a website on your mobile device, it'll basically contort to the resolution of the mobile device. So basically one of the first precautions you should take is basically making sure that you don't maximize your browser's resolution, and it just makes it a whole lot easier for them to understand what device you're using, and from there they can basically begin targeting you and all of that. Really, it's all got to do with security and anonymity. Now most of you have already noticed that this really isn't a very normal browser, and as you can see, it's if you go to this little onion icon here, it's going to say Tor is enabled. Now if you click on it, it's going to say new identity, a new Tor circuit for this site, and it's going to say security settings and the Tor network settings. Now we basically want to hit new identity. All right, and what if we hit new identity, it's basically going to start a new Tor window. Now we can either do that or we can just start from here. So I'm going to hit no. Now let's try and visit a website like google.com, right? And let's see what it pops up. I already know that it's connected to the Tor network. All we have to see is what it basically replies. So according to what it's got from the Tor network, the IP that it's using is a Dutch IP from the Netherlands, and therefore it's changed it to all to Dutch. So in reality, I don't live in the Netherlands, so I can vouch that it's working. And if you click on the onion right now, it's basically going to show you the Tor circuit that's being used. So it's going to say this browser, and as we learned in the first section how nodes work in the Tor connection, it's going to go to the first node. The first node is going to basically select the second node, and then it's going to select the third node, and then finally it's going to connect to the internet. So it's basically showing you the chain of node connections that your browser is taking to finally access the internet, which is why you'll find that sometimes that the connection is slightly slower. Again, you can create a new identity, and what that means is that it's going to give you a new IP address. All right, so we basically know that it's using a Dutch IP address. Let's try a website like sorry, I think I closed the window. Let's open Tor browser again, and let's just connect it to the Tor circuit. Sorry about that, I think I closed the window. So actually it probably has created a new identity for us. So let's open YouTube, youtube.com, and let's see what it gives us. So in theory, I don't know what IP address it's given me now, but let's see what it's given us. So basically it's still using I think the Dutch IP address, and possibly it's going to continue using that for right now. Anyway, what I was getting to was basically how it's basically structured the web page, and how you can customize the activity on the page. So as I was saying, you can get into security settings, and right now the security settings are set to low. That means it's basically going to work like a normal browser, and it's not going to restrict anything really. Let me just minimize this ad. Now if I hit medium, all right, at this level the following changes apply. Alright, JavaScript is disabled by default on non-HTTPS sites. So YouTube is a HTTPS site, so that means it's still going to be enabled. HTML5 video and audio media become click to play via no script, so they'll not autoplay any videos. So basically on sites where JavaScript is enabled, performance optimizations are disabled. So basically when it's at Medium, it's going to restrict a bit of scripts running on the website. For example, if I clicked one of these videos right here, a lot of live stuff is playing. Let me just click a video that might not be too controversial in terms of content. Let's just go to trending and let's see what the differences are in terms of how it's played. So let's try this video right here, and as you can see, it'll still play the video. It'll still play the video quite well, and nothing really has changed. So if we go back into the security settings and we set it to high, let's hit OK, and not now. Let's refuse that and let's reload the web page and let's see what it gives us now. So it's nothing really has changed in terms of the interface. Everything is still smooth. So let's try and open a video right now, and as you can see, this little icon has turned into a no scripts sign, and most probably it's not going to play the video. And as you can see, it's not going to play the video at all. It's not giving us any thumbnails. So let's go back to the home screen and let me explain what the high security level actually means. So at this security level, the following changes apply. Mouse over for details. So basically it's not going to give you any preview of the content. Like for example, if I click here, you can basically see that it doesn't. On sites where JavaScript is enabled, performance optimizations are disabled. So in reality, a lot of the scripts are disabled. So let's hit OK. And now if we look over here, it's going to say, this is basically your script area, and it's going to ask you to, it has this area for blocked script, and it's going to, as you can see, it's temporarily allowed the font to work, but it's disabled other scripts as well. Now you can temporarily allow the scripts on this page if you know you're on a website that you can trust. However, it's gonna advise you that allowing the scripts globally or universally across the Tor browser is very dangerous. And that's because some websites may use JavaScript, and you know JavaScript uses your computer to perform advanced tasks on the websites like calculations, and those can be really dangerous, especially when harvesting information from your browser and your computer. So that's basically the security features. You then have your Tor network settings. Alright, so these are very simple, and it's basically the first settings that you get when installing the Tor browser. You can basically check that whether or not your internet service provider blocks connections to the Tor network in countries where that may be restricted, whether you have a proxy or you're going through a firewall. So that's really up to you. Coming back to let me just go back to YouTube. Sorry about that. Coming back to the new Tor, if you focus on the Tor circuit for this site, as I said, it's going to show you a visual representation according to the chain of nodes being used. Now, if you go into the security settings, and if we were to basically say medium and or low, what would be really dangerous is if I used a search engine. By the way, the Tor browser automatically uses the DuckDuckGo search engine, which is an anonymous search engine. So basically, as you can see, the default search engine is DuckDuckGo. So let me just search for the hidden wiki, which is basically a wiki that contains a collection of a few onion sites. So generally speaking, the first thing you'll realize is that the deep web or the dark net, we're actually not yet browsing the dark net, is relatively slower because it's going through a certain amount of proxies. So the hidden wiki, as I said, it's going to be using the DuckDuckGo search engine. The DuckDuckGo search engine is, I think, the best search engine because it's anonymous and does not track any of your search queries. So let's open the hidden wiki. And let's try and actually visit a deep web site right now, or a darknet site. So basically this is just a collection of .onion websites, which is the URL format for the deep web. For most of you don't know, it does not end in .com or .org, .net. Really, in terms of the deep web or the dark net, all websites end in a .onion format. So if I was to just find a website on the Hidden Wiki, you can try this for yourselves. Most of the websites will not work, but if you can find one that works, it'll be a good starting point for you to understand how this works. So I'm basically going to try and click on a link that may not be that may be working. For example, this market website that may be dealing in firearms. You have a lot of illegal content right here, which again, as I mentioned in my disclaimer, I'm not going to be responsible for if you get involved into this. But anyway, let me try and find links that are working. As I said, one of the most common problems you'll be encountering on the deep web is the fact that links don't actually work, and some of them will be dead. So the real challenge or the adventure is finding links that are working. So let's actually try and find a website that's working, so that we can I can basically show you how it works before we end this video. No site wants to work today. Let's try the Twitter clone. Excuse me. None of those sites want to work. Let's try a hacking website right here. It also contains a few torrent websites, which, by the way, another tip is I would not recommend you to basically torrent over the deep web, because that'll basically just give out your location. I will get to advanced anonymity settings and configuring, basically giving you full anonymity where it cannot be traced back to you. But that's coming in the future videos. So we've actually got our first deep web website. And as you can see, this is an ebook website called the Imperial Library, and it's saying there are 103,448 books on the library. So you can basically just check this out. And let's check out science fiction, for example. You have Star Trek. You can download it or read it. Again, this may be illegal, and I don't encourage you to do that, but at the end of the day, you can use this information to do whatever you want. So that's basically it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, just let me know in the Q&A section of the course.